Well, the Indians have taken the field for what they hope will be a history-making night here in downtown Cleveland. Josh Tomlin and company will wear the dark blue jerseys with the red and white trim and the white pants, and the Chicago Cubs going with their blue jerseys with red and white trim and the gray pants. Josh Tomlin on the hill for the Indians tonight. He is 31 years of age, 6'1", 190 pounds, fastball, cut fastball, curve, and changeup. And Tomlin will be facing the Cubs for the second time in this World Series as he pitched a beauty against the Chicago Cubs on Friday night when the Indians took a 2-1 lead. As Tomlin started that game, he would give the Indians 4 2/3 shutout innings. He didn't get the win because he didn't go the prerequisite 5 innings, but he blanked the Cubs on 2 hits, struck out 1, walked 1. Just a thrilling ball game. The Indians would eventually win 1-0. Now, Josh Tomlin is pitching on 3 days rest, and that's something he's only done one other time in his career, and it was in the regular season, and that was 6 years ago against the Toronto Blue Jays, and he did fine. Gave up a run in 5 1/3. The good news for Tomlin, he only made 58 pitches on Friday night, and there is not a better competitor to take the baseball than Josh Tomlin to try to wrap it up tonight. Dexter Fowler, the switch-hitting center fielder, will lead it off and bat left-handed. Everybody on their feet at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario as Game 6 about to get underway. Tomlin, the wind, and tonight's first pitch. And strike one called on the outside corner. Like with each first pitch in the World Series, the catcher tosses the ball out of play as it becomes a part of history. Now the line by Tomlin, the next delivery. Check swing, strike 2 call. 71 degrees here at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario as we are underway for Game 6. Tomlin into the wind and the 0-2 pitch. A little bit high, 1-2. Fowler was 0 for 3 in facing Josh Tomlin Friday night. Switch hitter batting left-handed. Hitting 200, a home run in this World Series. The pitch. Swung on line to third. Caught by Ramirez. So Fowler tried to go the opposite way. Hit it hard, but right at third baseman Jose Ramirez. And that is out number 1. That'll bring up Kyle Schwarber, the Middletown, Ohio native, who is able to now start once we get back into American League ballparks because he's DHing. Having had that reconstructive knee surgery 6.5 months ago, not cleared to play the outfield, so he'll DH tonight, hit second. Indians shift 3 to the right side of the infield. Schwarber bounces the first pitch into shallow right, into the shift. Kipnis has it, throws him out. Well, I mean, this place is thunderous. 2 outs. Nobody on base, no score in inning number 1. Coco Crispin left, Tyler Naquin in center, Lonnie Chisenhall in right. Mike Napoli at first, Jason Kipnis at second. Francisco Lindor is at short. Jose Ramirez at third, and behind the plate, Roberto Perez. Now third baseman Chris Bryant dropped from the 2-hole to the number 3 spot in the lineup. He got that home run to ignite their 3-run rally on Sunday night and keep their season alive. It was just his second hit in this World Series. Now the wind and the pitch, and it's in there, a called strike. Tomlin continuing to pound the corners to both sides of the plate. Bryant hitting 118 in this World Series, a homer and RBI. The pitch, check swing, curveball and a beauty. Nothing into the count. And Josh Tomlin, what else is new? Just pounding the strike zone. Now the wind and the 0-2 pitch. Swung on, hit high in the air to deep left. This ball is gone to the bleachers. He tried to get him with another curveball, and Bryant wasn't fooled. And the Cubs have a 1-0 lead on a solo homer to the bleachers and left on an 0-2 pitch. So Bryant has homered in back-to-back games in this World Series. He certainly ignited them the other night. We shall see. That's the first home run off Josh Tomlin in this, his fourth postseason start. So 2 down, and the Cubs have a 1-0 lead. Here's Anthony Rizzo, the left-handed hitting first baseman. Indians shift 3 to the right side of the infield. Tomlin into the line, and the pitch to Rizzo. And he fouls it straight back, strike one. Rizzo was 0 for 3 against Tomlin on Friday night. Now Tomlin doubled up his curveball usage in the ALCS against Toronto and did the same in his outing the other night in Chicago. That pitch outside, 1-1, and Brian may have been looking curveball on that 0-2 pitch. So the Cubs have a 1-0 lead, 2 down in the first. Rizzo hitting .294, 2 RBIs in the World Series. Left-handed slugger. Now the wind and the pitch. And a swing and a soft liner into right center. It's a base hit. So Rizzo followed Bryant's home run with a double on Sunday night. Tonight he follows it with a single to right center. And after 2 quick outs and then an 0-2 count on Bryant, the Cubs have homered and singled. And now lead this ballgame 1-0 with a 2-out runner at first. And the left fielder and number 5 hitter Ben Zobrist at the plate. Zobrist 3 for 21 lifetime against Josh Tomlin. Indians are playing fairly deep in the outfield tonight. Toss to first and Rizzo standing on the bag. The ball is certainly going to carry. It is 71 degrees here in downtown Cleveland, and what little breeze we have is blowing out toward the right. Tomlin's ready. Rizzo, pretty good lead. Tomlin with a good move, and the pitch is in there, called strike on a first pitch fastball. Ben Zobrist hitting .368 with an RBI in this World Series. Tomlin works first base side of the rubber in both the windup and out of the stretch. The next offering. Swung on another line drive base hit to right center on another off-speed pitch. In the gap, cutting it off, Chisenhall. Rizzo scampers to third. And a third consecutive 2-out hit. This one from Ben Zobrist, who is having a tremendous World Series. And now the Cubs trying to have a big inning. And all of this coming with 2 outs and nobody on. And catcher Roberto Perez out to the mound. And it looked like another hanging curveball that got Tomlin in trouble there. Here's the shortstop, Addison Russell. Russell is hitting 6th tonight, batting .211 in the World Series with a couple of RBIs. So the Cubs lead 1-0, and they've got runners at first and third and 2 down here in the first. The Indians this October and now November have been so good at minimizing the damage here in postseason play. Tomlin's ready, and the pitch. A swing and a foul over the screen, strike one. The Indians coming into tonight in postseason play, the Indians had and in just 3 of those 115 innings did the Indians pitchers ever give up more than 1 run in any inning. Now the 0-1. A little outside on a cutter, and the count 1-1. In fact, the most runs scored off the Indians in any one inning has been 3. Cubs did it the other night in a 3-2 win to stay alive. Addison Russell was 0 for 2 against Tomlin on Friday night. Right-hander against right-hander. Tomlin tossed to first and back with a dive as Zobrist. Tonight's World Series game is presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Cubs 1, Indians nothing. Cubs at first and third. 2 down in the first. Tomlin comes set. And the pitch. A check swing blooper into shallow right center. Coming hard, Chisenhall, and it drops between he and Naquin. That'll score Rizzo. Zobrist around third, throw to the plate, slide, tag, ball got away. Backed up by Tomlin. Scoring is Zobrist. Russell to third on a ball that should have been caught in right center to end the inning. And miscommunication with Naquin and Chisenhall has cost the Indians at least 2 more runs. And the Cubs have a 3-0 lead. That ball was catchable for either Naquin or Chisenhall. And somehow it got between them. And they're giving Addison Russell a 2-run double. And then an error on Kipnis' throw to the plate, enabling Russell to go to third and Mickey Callaway, the Indians pitching coach, to the mound. So the Indians, who have been so brilliant defensively this postseason, have now paid the ultimate price on a ball that should have been caught in right center field. It wasn't hit deep, but both Naquin and Chisenhall could have easily caught that ball, and nobody took command out in right center field. And at the end of the day, when you're the center fielder, you have got to take control if nobody else is. So the Cubs, in what should be a 1-0 first inning, now lead 3-0, and they have a runner at third base, 2 down for the catcher Wilson Contreras. 0 for 2 against Tomlin on Friday night. Now the set, now the pitch, and it's in there, a called strike. And I'm sure Mickey Callaway was saying, look, Josh, you did your job. You got out of this inning and should have been out of it, giving up 1 run. Don't let this thing now implode. Right-hander against right-hander. The pitch. And it's a little bit high. Ball 1, 1-1. Now, the way these two clubs have had a tough time scoring runs against the great pitching, mistakes are really magnified. The pitch. Check swing. It's a little outside. 2-1. Right-hander Mike Clevenger has begun throwing in the Indians' bullpen. Boy, this started with 2 quick outs. A line out to third. A ground out to second. Bryant a solo homer to left on an 0-2 pitch. Rizzo and Zobrist back-to-back singles. And Addison Russell on what should have been the 3rd out. A ball dropping for a 2-run double. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss. 2-2. But again, the good news, it's the first inning. The bad news is Jake Arrieta held the Indians hitless until the 6th inning in his start in Game 2 last Wednesday. That's why Tomlin must end it here. He sets, he fires. And it missed wide, full count. Jason Hayward on deck. And Josh Tomlin now forced to make a ton of pitches because of the ball that wasn't caught. Tomlin at 21. Wilson Contreras is 1 for 14 in this World Series, but he's got power. He had a dozen home runs after coming up from the minor leagues this season. Tomlin's ready. Here it comes. A swing and a fly ball. Again, shallow right center. This time Naquin's calling and making the catch. So the Cubs score 3 as the Indians give them 2 of the runs. And after a half inning here in Game 6 of the World Series, the Chicago Cubs 3 and the Cleveland Indians coming to this World Series as it is 3-0. The Chicago Cubs have the lead after the Indians' full paw in right center field cost the Indians 2 critical runs. And they're critical, especially when you're facing a guy like Jake Arrieta. 30-year-old right-hander, 6'4", 225. Jake Arrieta has the sinking fastball, cut fastball, curve, and changeup. He has some of the best stuff in the game. Won the National League Cy Young a year ago. Right-hander facing the Indians. DH Carlos Santana batting left-handed. First pitch, he jumps back. It's down and in a ball. Cubs put 3 between first and second on the infield. Santana will be one of 7 left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight for Terry Francona. The pitch, and it's a strike on a fastball. Jake Arrieta won game 2 here in Cleveland last Wednesday night. Arrieta pumps, fires. Santana swings, fouls it to the right. 1-2. In that game, the Indians did not get a hit until the 6th inning. And Jake Arrieta would go 5 2/3 innings. He would give up 1 run on 2 hits, would strike out 6 and walk 3. Now the wind and the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Threw it by him, a fastball at 96 miles an hour. So Santana strikes out to start the Indians first. In game 2 last Wednesday night, the temperature was 28 degrees colder. And the Indians could not solve Arrieta until Jason Kipnis got a 1-out double in the 6th. He'd eventually score on a wild pitch. Here is Jason Kipnis. The pitch to him, and he fouls it back over the screen, a strike. Ben Zobrist is in left, Dexter Fowler in center, Jason Hayward in right, Anthony Rizzo at first, Javi Baez at second, Addison Russell at short, Chris Bryant at third, and Wilson Contreras doing the catching. Now the wind by Arrieta and the pitch. And it's a high fastball, 1-1 the count. Arrieta, this postseason, has made all of his starts, this one being his 4th, on the road. He is 1-1 this postseason with a 3.78 ERA. The pitch, swing and a miss, 1-2 the count. He was the toughest pitcher in the National League to get a base hit off of this year. The National League and in interleague play, opponents only batted 194 against Arrieta. That was best in the National League. The pitch, swung on, bounced up the middle to his right with a backhand and shallow center. Baez, second baseman, throws out Kipnis. 2 down. This year, Jake Arrieta was 18-8 with a 3.10 ERA. So he was 3rd in the National League in wins, led the National League in opponents' batting average, and was 8th in strikeouts. He averaged 9 strikeouts, 3 walks per 9 innings. So 18-8 this season, and a year ago won the Cy Young, going 22-6 with a 1.77 ERA. 2 down, Tribe down 3-0 first inning. Frankie Lindor batting left-handed digs in, and the pitch is a first pitch strike. Lindor batting .421 this World Series with 2 RBIs. Now the wind and the 0-1. And it's in there, strike 2. Lindor was 0 for 2 against Arrieta last week. And Arrieta is actually pitching tonight on 1 extra day's rest. Instead of the normal 4, he's had 5 days off between starts. Now the 0-2. High and wide, a curveball, 1-2. Jake Arrieta, when he's on, look out. He's had some issues with command this year, but for the 2nd year in a row, he threw a no-hitter. Now the 1-2 pitch. And just a bit inside and low. Arrieta started off the mound for the first base dugout. 2-2 the count. Joe West calling balls and strikes tonight. Arrieta thought the inning was over. Now the 2-2. Swung on, fouled upstairs. We'll do it again at 2-2. Jake Arrieta threw a no-hitter in Cincinnati this year on April 21st. And in that game, he also went 2 for 4. Last year, Jake Arrieta threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers. Now the 2-2. Bounced it in there, full count. And as we said, last week in Game 2, he had a no-hitter until the 6th. That was the longest no-hit bid in a World Series game since 1969. Remember Jerry Koosman and those miracle Mets? Cub fans sure do. Now the payoff pitch to the Indians shortstop. Down low, bounces away from Contreras. So a good at bat for Frankie Lindor, drawing a 2-out walk, and we'll see if the Indians can replicate what the Cubs did with 2 outs, nobody on in the top of the inning when they scored 3. Arrieta is a guy you can run on. Now, Indians first base coach Sandy Alomar was saying he's got a good move, but he is a guy you can run on. Now, Contreras throws well. The rookie catcher cut down 35% of the would-be base stealers. But this year, base stealers against Arrieta were 23 for 26. Mike Napoli, the hitter. The pitch. Swing and a foul at the plate, strike 1. Well, the Indians need this big-time producer, Mike Napoli, more than ever now. Down 3-0 in the first. Napoli hitting .200 this World Series, but no RBIs. He's had 2 RBIs this postseason. Lindor, not much of a lead. Arrieta sets at the belt. The 0-1. Down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mike Napoli clobbered a career-high 34 homers in the regular season and a career-best 101 RBIs. Does he have another big game in him? Arrieta looks to first. He sets, fires. Lindor dives back. Certainly a night to hit the long ball. We've seen Chris Bryant go deep, and the Cubs are fairly deep and straight away in the outfield. Flag out in right center in the concourse is not moving at all. Beautiful 71 degrees. Now the pitch. Swing and a pop foul. This becomes a souvenir behind the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Arrieta getting that fastball up there consistently in the mid-90s. This is a really good pitching staff. There's a reason the Cubs led the National League in pitching. They have a deep rotation, and now with Aroldis Chapman as the closer. It's a lights-out staff. Throw to first. Lindor dives back. 3-0 Cubs lead the Indians. Try batting with a runner on, 2 down in the first. Arrieta's ready. Here it comes. High and wide, 2-2. Mike Napoli playing in his 3rd World Series with his 3rd different ball club. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Napoli down swinging. Arrieta gets a pair of strikeouts, but more importantly, he's kept the Indians off the board. 1-0. I beg your pardon. Should be 1-0. It's
that missed ball. Lonnie Chisenhall told me at Wrigley there was a lot of problems with communications because of the noise. Not sure if that's the case here tonight.
Well, shouldn't be. Got to play through noise. Jason Heyward. Thank you, Andre. The number 8 hitter leads off the second. And the first pitch, and he hits one high in the air, fairly deep right, playable for Chisenhall, front of the warning track to make the catch. So Jason Heyward has flied out on the first pitch from Josh Tomlin, and Cubs might be feeling a little bit frisky right now. They've got a 3-0 lead. They're playing in great weather, and they can maybe cut it loose a little bit more, as they had really been shut down for much of this World Series by Indians pitching, and tonight they got a big assist on the miscommunication and misplay in right field. Now the number 9 hitter, Javier Baez, batting 143 this World Series. Josh Tomlin with a knee-high strike. Javier Baez has not done to the Indians what he did to the Dodgers to win the pennant. The pitch, and it's over the inside corner, a strike. Baez had 5 RBIs against the Dodgers, and he and John Lester were co-MVPs in the National League Championship Series, but the Indians have kept him quiet. The pitch to him, down and away, 1-2, and so much so that this is the first time in this World Series he's batting 9th. He has chased a lot of pitches when he's gotten to 2 strikes in this World Series, striking out 9 times in 21 at-bats. Tomlin's pitch, swung on Tapper, back up the middle behind second, backhanded by Kipnis, off-balance throw, bang, bang, play, got him, but the Cubs may challenge it. Joe Maddon's coming out. First base coach Brandon Hyde thought Baez beat it. Kipnis went a long way to his right, up the middle with a backhand, the quick off-balance throw to get the speedy Baez, at least the initial call. And the Cubs waiting to see what their replay people tell them from the clubhouse as to whether or not they should challenge this call. I don't know if it's worth a challenge. Bang, bang. We'll see what Joe Maddon wants to do. He's still outside the dugout, looking back into the dugout. Heck of a play by Kipnis. And Joe Maddon says, let it stand. So, a terrific play by Kipnis to get the speedy Baez and the second out in the Cubs' second inning. Top of the order, and Dexter Fowler, who lined out to third his first time up. Switch hitter batting left-handed. So, like last inning, 2 quick outs. Cubs lead, though, 3-0 here in the second. Tomlin into the wind, and the pitch. Fowler takes down and away, ball 1. Tomlin works, fires, misses low and away, 2-0. And just like at Wrigley, his mom and dad are here tonight, taking in Game 6 of this World Series. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on, hit high in the air to right. Near the line, medium deep. Lonnie Chisenhall is there to corral it. And a 1-2-3 inning for Josh Tomlin. You heard the story a number of times from us. Josh, 5-hitter and third baseman Jose Ramirez. Switch hitter will lead it off, batting left-handed. Jake Arrieta delivers. Ramirez takes a first pitch strike. Ramirez hitting .300, a homer, 2 RBIs in this World Series. Now the wind and next delivery. And he went curveball in a good one. 0-2 the count. Jake Arrieta, so far this postseason, as he pumps and fires, swing and a miss, fastball away, and he got Ramirez to chase it, 3rd strikeout. This postseason for Jake Arrieta, he hasn't had one of those games that he's so capable of where it just blows you off the page when you look at his numbers. He's pitched well. And of course, the other start he had here, he had a no-hitter until the 6th, which is pretty impressive. But so far he's given up 2 runs, 4 runs, and 1 run in his 3 starts. But he is so capable of any time throwing a shutout, striking out double figures. First pitch strike to the right fielder, Lonnie Chisenhall, left-handed batter who is 0 for 2 against Arrieta in Game 2. And the Indians are going to need some offense tonight, down 3 in the second. The pitch, swing, ground ball toward third, foul. Boy, did he get jammed. And the count 0-2. Tonight's World Series game presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Outfield now really spread out and fairly deep for Chisenhall. The pitch to him. High fastball, wouldn't chase, 96 miles an hour. Thing about Arrieta, just about everything he throws moves. And that sometimes gets him in trouble. It moves so much, it moves out of the strike zone and leads to some walks. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He has struck out 4 here in the first 2 innings. Chisenhall's number 4. Now Coco Crisp, switch hitter batting left-handed. He is 1 for 10 lifetime against Jake Arrieta. 2 outs, nobody on. Cubs 3, Indians nothing in the second. Jake Arrieta, we've told the story before. Traded by Baltimore to the Cubs, and suddenly a rebirth. The pitch, and it's outside a ball. In fact, when the Cubs got him from the Baltimore Orioles 3 summers ago, they sent him to their AAA club. The 1-0 pitch. Curveball strike, 1-1. So, as late as 2013, Jake Arrieta really had not established himself as one of those big-time performers. But he has since. The pitch. Down and in. Ball 2, 2-1. Had a solid year in 2014, and then the Cy Young last year, and now 18 more wins this season, and tonight trying to keep the Cubs season alive. His pitch swung on, bounced to third. Near the cut of the grass, Bryant has it, throws out Coco Crisp, and Jake Arrieta has 2 shutout innings under his belt, and it's a 3-0. Last time they had the parade was 1948. Kyle Schwarber, the DH and 2-hole hitter, grounded out to second his first time up. Indians shift 3 again to the right side. Tomlin kicks, fires, Schwarber takes, down and in. Schwarber is now 3 for 9 with 2 RBIs in this World Series. Strictly a DH or pinch hitter. The 1-0. Down low, 2-0. The fact he's even playing is stunning. A collision in the outfield back in April 7th with teammate Dexter Fowler, and he did major damage to his left knee, had to have complete reconstruction. The pitch to him, and it's in there, 2-1. Normally you think a guy is out for a year. Here he is, 6.5 months after surgery, playing in the World Series. Was not cleared to play until the World Series. Now the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Cutter in on the hands, 2-2. Schwarber only had 4 at-bats in the regular season, and now 9 in the World Series. Indians fans trying to get re-energized. Well, that ball that wasn't caught just took everything out of this ballpark. Now the 2-2. Just a bit outside, full count. This place was thunderous. And then the Cubs with 3 runs after there were 2 men out. 2 runs that never should have scored. The payoff? Swing and a shot foul down the right side. We'll do it again at 3-2. Kyle Schwarber, an outstanding high school football player in Middletown. A lot of people thought he might play both, but stuck strictly with baseball when he went to Indiana. Played for Tracy Smith there, and Tracy Smith now the head baseball coach at Arizona State. And Schwarber was part of an Indiana Hoosier team that in 2013 made their College World Series trip to Omaha. Now the payoff, just a bit outside, he walked. So Tomlin's walked his first. Tomlin averaged 1 walk per 9 innings this year. He walked 20 batters in the regular season. And in fact, Josh Tomlin walked the fewest batters of any pitcher in the major leagues that qualified for the ERA crown. And he set a new franchise record, 6-1 strikeout to walk ratio, new club record. Here's Chris Bryant, hit the solo homer to the bleachers and left his first time. He swings and sends this one shallow center. Going hard as Chisenhall makes the catch, and Naquin dove behind him. Miscommunication again. And this time Chisenhall said, "I'm catching it." It ended up being in shallow right center, and Naquin looked like initially he was calling for it, and Chisenhall cut in front of him, and then Naquin went into a half dive, half slide behind him. And we almost had our second problem between Naquin and Chisenhall on what should be a routine play in shallow right center. Fortunately, that ball was caught for out number one. But those two have got to get on the same page. Here's Anthony Rizzo, single to right center and scored in the first. Indians put 3 on the right side of the infield. Tomlin's pitch, and it's in there, a strike. Right-hander Dan Otero is warming in the Indians' bullpen. Tomlin did not allow a run and only gave up 2 hits in 4 2/3 innings to the Cubs on Friday. Tonight he's allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, but again, 2 of those runs are tainted. Now the 0-1. Swung on, jammed job, fouled back and out of play, 0-2. This game should be 1-0. Bryant hit the solo homer to left in the first inning. Then Rizzo and Zobrist had back-to-back 2-out RBI singles. And then a shallow fly to right center that somehow fell between Chisenhall and Naquin when they miscommunicated, and it ended up going as a 2-run double. Instead of the inning being over and it being 1-0 Cubs, it's 3-0 Chicago. Now the 0-2 pitch. Backdoor curve just missed, 1-2. And the way Arrieta knows, Terry Francona realizes they just can't fall any further back. Not the way Arrieta is throwing the ball so far. Outfield, deep and around toward right. Infield, that overshift to the right. Now the 1-2 pitch to Rizzo. Swung on, smash foul right side. Will do it again at 1-2. The Cubs had only scored 2 runs total in the 3 games started by Kluber and Tomlin in this World Series. And then getting 3 in the first here tonight and a 3-0 lead here in the third. Tomlin's next delivery. Again, curve outside. His curveball not as biting and as sharp as it was on Friday night in Chicago. 2-2 the count. Tomlin's ready. Here it comes. And Rizzo swings and lines another base hit to center. Schwarber will stop at second, and now Ben Zobrist will bat. So Rizzo is 2 for 2, and the Cubs now with 5 hits off Josh Tomlin. And decision time for Terry Francona. It's a 3-0 ball game. The Cubs lead the Indians here in the third. Cubs at first and second, 1 out, and Ben Zobrist single to right center and scored his first time up. Switch hitting left fielder, batting left-handed. And Zobrist having a tremendous World Series. He has banged out 8 hits in this World Series. And now batting an even .400 in the Fall Classic. The pitch just missed inside, evidently. Ball 1. Well, a critical point in this ballgame. Tomlin's ready. Checks second. Comes to the plate. And it's in there, a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomlin has been tremendous really since the 1st of September. And has taken it throughout this playoff run. His 1-1 delivery. Swung on, grounded foul outside of first, 1-2. Josh had the rough month of August, but then rebounded. And from the start of September through the end of the regular season, Josh Tomlin had a 169 earned run average. And then once postseason play started, 2-0 with a 176 ERA. He checked second, now the 1-2. Swung on, ground ball, single into right field. Schwarber will be stopped. He's pretty much one base at a time, so the bases are loaded. And another base hit. Zobrist has his second tonight, and I would think that'll be all for Josh Tomlin. The bases are loaded with 1 out, and the Cubs trying to blow it open. They lead 3-0. Terry Francona's out of the third base dugout. We'll be right back after this pitching change.
AutoZone presents Peak Performance. Maximizing fuel economy, engine life, and overall engine performance doesn't take a lot thanks to fuel treatment and fluids from AutoZone. And right now, buy one 5.25-ounce Lucas Fuel System treatment and get one free. So visit your local AutoZone.
And the Indians are playing the infield part way in. Already down 3-0. They're not playing the infield back at double play depth. They're playing the infield halfway in. Here's Addison Russell. Takes a pitch inside. Russell hit would prove to be a 2-run double in the first inning on what should have been the third out of the inning, but missed communication between Naquin and Chisenhall, and it fell between them for a critical 2-run double and made it 3-0 instead of the inning being over at 1-0. The pitch in there. Or is it? Oh, it's called a ball. Well, Indians thought it was a strike. Now Addison Russell with a 2-0 count. Righty-righty match up the pitch. Swung and blasted. Deep center field. This ball is gone. A grand slam over the 19-foot wall to center field. And it is 7-0 Cubs here in the third inning. Wow. Russell with 6 RBIs. And those 4 RBIs were legit. The first 2 were not, but those sure were. And now catcher Wilson Contreras, who flied out his first time up. 7-0 Cubs, third inning. Still only 1 out. Otero's pitch is in there, a strike. So the grand slam to center by Addison Russell has broken it wide open. Otero's next pitch, and it's inside, a ball, 1-1. Danny Salazar warming in the Indians bullpen. So the Cubs, who had been held in check, have erupted tonight. The pitch swung on a high bouncer up the middle. Lindor with the chest high bounce near second has it, and the shortstop throws out Contreras, 2 down. The Chicago Cubs had scored 10 runs in the first 5 games of this World Series, and they've exploded for 7 tonight. And we're only in the third inning. Now Jason Hayward, who flied out to right his first time up. 7-0 Cubs, 2 outs, bases empty, third inning. The pitch, Hayward takes, it's a called strike on the outer edge. So Josh Tomlin gets tagged with 6 runs tonight on 6 hits. He went 2 1/3. Walked 1, didn't strike anybody out. Now the pitch. A little bit wide, 1 ball, 1 strike. Otero's next delivery. Swing and a bouncing ball foul by the Cubs' first base dugout. It's a 1-2 count. Hayward had been benched for his postseason struggles, but now has been back in the lineup playing right field for Joe Maddon. He's batting .273 in this World Series. Now the pitch. A little wide, a fastball, 2-2. Addison Russell hit that grand slam 434 feet. Just to the left of straightaway center. Now the pitch. Swung on. A little weak fly ball, shallow center. Lindor out, the Indian shortstop. One hands it. And that'll take care of Hayward and the Cubs. But the grand slam by Addison Russell has given the Cubs a mammoth 7-0 lead here in the third.
Today, you have more ways to access the #1 care in Ohio.
Would be the Game 7 matchup tomorrow night at 8:08. Jake Arrieta, the wind and pitch to Naquin, and it's a fastball outside, a ball. Naquin 1 for 5 in the World Series. The 1-0 pitch. Outside again, ball 2, 2-0. Arrieta has struck out 4 in the first 2 innings and walked a batter. The Indians still don't have a hit. They didn't have one against Arrieta in Game 2 until the 6th. Now the 2-0. That's a strike on a fastball, 2-1. Arrieta winds it up and lets it fly. Naquin swings and misses, 2-2. Now the 2-2 pitch. Strike, he took a fastball right down the middle. Naquin has become Arrieta's 5th strikeout victim. That'll bring up Roberto Perez, batting .188, couple of homers, 4 RBIs in this World Series. He got the 2 home runs and he got the 4 RBIs in the Game 1 win. Right-hander against right-hander. The wind and the pitch. Swung on, sliced foul to the right, strike 1. Well, Joe Maddon said before this ball game yesterday,
First by a Cubs batter in World Series history. First Cub to hit a grand slam in World Series.
we're being told some notes on the grand slam.
Series history in their World Series history.
Now the 0-1 pitch, and it's up and in, 1-1.
Was Paul Konerko with the White Sox, Game 2, October 23, 2005.
Cubs getting their first World Series grand slam, and the Indians giving up their first ever World Series grand slam. Addison Russell with the grand slam in the top of this inning. The 1-1 swung on, a little floater to center. Fowler right there to grab it. 2 down. Last time we've had a grand slam in any World Series was back in 2005 when Paul Konerko hit a grand slam with the Chicago White Sox, swept the Houston Astros. 7-0 Cubs in command of the Indians here in Game 6 of this World Series. We're in the third. Carlos Santana struck out his first time up. Switch hitter batting left-handed. Shift is on. 3 go to the right side of the infield. Santana steps away. But Joe Madden was saying he needed at least 6 innings out of Jake Arrieta tonight. The line and the pitch, and it's in there, called strike. They obviously don't want to go to a Aroldis Chapman for 40-plus pitches again tonight like they did Sunday when he had a career-high 2 2/3 innings of work to get the save. Now the 0-1. Down in a little bit, 1-1, but now with Arrieta up 7-0. Sure makes it a lot easier for him to give them some length, and left. So all of a sudden he just loses it. He sure got a lot of room to work. As his 1-1 pitch swung on, a bouncing ball to first. Rizzo with the underhand flip to Arrieta. And the Indians have had a quiet 2 innings. Boy, the Cubs sure have not. 7-0. Cubs lead the Indians. We go to inning number 4.
And try and get better. And that arm came around sufficiently to add him to the roster for the World Series. And this will be his second appearance. He also worked in Game 2. He's facing, first pitch is up and in to Javier Baez. Baez bounced to second his first time up. 7-0 Chicago in front. Salazar delivers, and Baez swings and fouls it back. And the count is now 1-1 on the short second baseman for the Cubs, Javier Baez. Jim Rosenhaus along with Tom Hamilton. Beautiful night for baseball, and this place overflowing, not only in the ballpark, but out on the plaza between here and the Q. The 1-1. That's inside. Did he check it? Yes, he did, and the count is now 2-1 on Javier Baez. But Chris Bryant hit a home run in the first inning with 2 outs to put the Cubs on the board. And then they scored 2 more on a fly ball that should have been caught in right center, but it fell between Tyler Naquin and Lonnie Chisenhall, and 2 runs scored on the play. The 2-1 pitch, a strike on the outside corner, and the count's now 2-2. Josh Tomlin was trying to settle in, but left with the bases loaded and 1 away in the 3rd inning. And Addison Russell promptly hit a grand slam home run to greet Dan Otero rudely. Next pitch to Baez is swung on and missed. Good fastball got him to chase, and Baez strikes out for the 10th time in the World Series. So Salazar with a strikeout to the first hitter he faces, and now it's back to the top of the lineup for Dexter Fowler. Fowler's 0 for 2. He's lined to third and flied to right, deep right, his last time up in the 2nd inning. Well, an odd season for Danny Salazar. He was tremendous in the first half of the year. In fact, made the All-Star team. Here's the pitch. Low and in for ball 1. But had some arm issues throughout the second half and finished 11-6 in 25 starts. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1-1 the count. Good changeup that time. Had Fowler out front. ERA of 3.87 for Salazar. He's into the wind. His pitch. Another changeup. Missed down low. He has the plus fastball, mid-90s consistently, and when he's right, that outstanding split change as well as a good breaking ball. Here's the 2-1. Swung on, blasted foul. That's off to the third base side and out of play. He went 10-3 in 17 first half starts with an ERA of 2.75, and that put him on the All-Star team, but did not pitch in the All-Star game in San Diego. Was ailing a little bit around the break. The 2-2, breaking ball, low and in. And the count's now 3-2. And he never seemed to be quite right after the break. Missed some time in early August with right elbow inflammation. Was on the disabled list during that time. Shakes off a sign or 2. Now he's into the windup. His payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Fowler down on strikes. 2 down in the inning. The Salazar trying to get his team back in the dugout as quickly as he can with the Tribe trailing 7-0. We're in the top half of the fourth inning as Kyle Schwarber steps to the plate. Schwarber's 0 for 1. He walked to lead off that 4-run third inning. Boy, a rarity this postseason as the Indians look up at the scoreboard and they see 2 innings with crooked numbers up there. Here's the pitch to Schwarber. Breaking ball in there for a strike. And Salazar, impressive here to the first 2 hitters. And if he's effective, he could give the Indians a little bit of length. 0-1 the count. Here comes the pitch. Swung on, and there's a high fly ball left field, fairly deep. Crisp is back, and Coco Crisp makes the catch just shy of the warning track to retire the side in order. So a good inning for Danny Salazar. He'll probably get another, and maybe more after that if he's effective, as he sets the cup back in the first inning. Jason Kipnis to lead things off here in the fourth. Arrieta back to work. His pitch, low and outside for ball 1. Now, Ty Van Berkeley, Indians hitting coach, saying before the game that with Arrieta, the challenge is he'll work both sides of the plate. It's hard to really focus in on one half. Here's the 1-0. He goes outside again and missed outside for ball 2 with a fastball. But that's the challenge. You can't cover both halves of the plate most of the time as a hitter. But Arrieta, he'll work both sides of the plate with success. And here he fires a fastball in there to Jason Kipnis, and the count is now 2-1. Kipnis bounced to second his first time up. Cubs with 7 runs on 7 hits, no runs, no hits, and an error for the Tribe. Here's the 2-1. Swung on, line drive, left center field, headed to the alley, and that ball gets down and bangs off the wall. Headed for second is Kipnis. Here's the throw, a good one. He slides head first, and he's safe with a double. Now Kipnis pops up, and he's fired up, trying to get the crowd back into it, and it's been tough for the home folks with the team trailing 7-0. But Kipnis has the Indians' first base hit, a double that hit the base of the wall in deep left center. For Kipnis, that's his 3rd double in the World Series. And now Francisco Lindor steps in. And this is the key for the Indians. To get back in this thing's going to be hard enough. But you always hear it, don't try and do too much. Don't try and get it all back with one swing. Easier said than done. Now we'll see if they can chip away a little bit at Jake Arrieta here in the fourth. Lindor digs in, the pitch to him. He swings and chops one slowly up that first baseline, foul. So it's 0-1 on Lindor, who's had quite a World Series, 8 for 19 coming in. And for that matter, a whale of a postseason. Came in batting .360 in October and now November, with a pair of home runs and 6 runs driven in. The switch hitting shortstop, still just 22. Here's the pitch to him. He swings and fouls it back. Straight back and out of play, and it's 0-2 on Francisco Lindor. Tribe trailing by 7 runs here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. It's Game 6 of the World Series, and well, we haven't seen anything remotely close to this lopsided this early. There have been some games that turned out that way, but that was the Indians tacking on in the end. Here's the 0-2. He tried to check his swing on a breaking ball in the dirt. Could not do it. That's strike 3. So Lindor's down on strikes. The 6th strikeout for Jake Arrieta. 2 in the first, 2 more in the second, another last inning, and now he gets Lindor swinging. And there's 1 away in the fourth inning. Here's Mike Napoli. He struck out back in the first inning. Napoli still looking for that first extra base hit in the World Series. Boy, such a key player in the middle of that Tribe lineup throughout the regular season, Mike Napoli. Here's the pitch to him. Down low, ball 1. Napoli trying to make Arrieta come into the strike zone. Looked at that breaking ball, let it go by as it was well down low and outside the strike zone. Arrieta's ready. He sets and delivers. And that's inside for a ball. A check swing foul tip by Napoli. So the count's now 1-1 as that ball skipped past Contreras, but it was tipped at the plate by Napoli. And the count's now 1-1. Jake Arrieta in the prime of his career. 30 years of age, out of Austin, Texas, a product of TCU. Here's the 1-1. Just missed inside, and the count's now 2-1 on Napoli. As Arrieta's just pounding Napoli inside with the hard stuff. Count's now 2-1 on the Tribe first baseman with Kipnis, the base runner at second base. Here's Arrieta's pitch. Fastball high and away. 3-1. Jose Ramirez waits on deck. Arrieta saying before the series began in his starts he was really going to try and focus on the finer points, work quickly, no walks, limit the running game, and help his teammates play some error-free baseball behind him. Here's the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Good cut by Napoli, but that 94-mile-an-hour fastball has good life to it from Arrieta. Again, sometimes it's much more than just the miles per hour. It's the movement and late life that a pitch has, and at least in the two starts that we've seen in the series from Arrieta, there's a lot of that going on. Here's the 3-2. Swung on, line drive, shallow left center. That falls in for a base hit. Grounding third and scoring is Kipnis. And Napoli drives in the run to put the Indians on the board. It's now the Cubs 7, the Tribe 1, as Napoli comes through with his first RBI in the World Series. That's his third run driven in the postseason. Just a little flare. Out towards shallow left center, it fell in. And the Indians are on the scoreboard. And now they'll try and chip away further at Arrieta with Napoli at first base and Jose Ramirez the batter. Big hole on that right side for him. The pitch to him. Breaking ball, down low, ball one. Ramirez struck out his first time up. In the World Series, Jose Ramirez, 6 for 21. Finished strong in the regular season, but has not been swinging it red hot in the playoffs as he looks at a pitch outside for ball two. And boy, these fans here just itching to get back in the game. They've seen their team score a run. And now Arrieta has fallen behind Ramirez 2-0. Let's see if Jose Ramirez forces him to throw a strike. If he'll take a strike here, or maybe figuring that he'll try and get one in there, could see something good to hit on 2-0. The set and the pitch. Swung on, line drive, right field, on comes Hayward. Diving attempt, and he makes the catch. A tumbling grab takes a base hit away from Jose Ramirez. And that is exactly what Hayward has brought to this team, even with some offensive struggles. Joe Madden keeps him in the ball game as often as he can, and he makes an outstanding catch right there on the backhand as he tumbled to the ground. Oh, a fine play by the right fielder, Jason Hayward. And there's two down in the inning for Lonnie Chisenhall. Arrieta's ready. Here's his pitch. Swung on and fouled back into the net. Well, the Cubs, taking a page out of the Indians' book throughout postseason, take away the 7 runs. They're pitching well, and they're playing good defense here tonight. And then you put in those 7 runs, and there's your story. 7-1, Chicago in front. Here's the 0-1. Inside, and it hit him. He hit Chisenhall. And that'll put runners at first and second with 2 down. Tried to come inside that time, and Chisenhall had no time to move. And he's hit by a pitch. And here comes the pitching coach, Chris Bosio. Now to have a chat with Jake Arrieta. Coco Crisp will be the batter. Tonight's game is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable networks. So a mound meeting here with the pitching coach, Chris Bosio, and the rest of the infielders. Well, what a job Bosio has done. All you heard about as the Cubs were rebuilding was how many good young position players they had. They have put together a fine rotation now. They've brought others in from the outside like John Lackey and John Lester. Jake Arrieta via trade. Kyle Hendricks via trade. But it doesn't matter how you get them. It's what you do when they're there. And the Cubs pitching staff this season, team ERA 3.15. Just tremendous. Best in baseball. Here's Coco Crisp. Switch hitter left side. The pitch to him. Down low, and it squirts through on Contreras. Back to the screen. The base runners move up. And now it's second and third with 2 down. And that's significant, as a base hit could plate 2 now if Crisp can come through. That pitch was down, but it didn't look like it hit the dirt. And certainly a pitch that should have been blocked by Contreras, and that will go as a passed ball. Now the fans back in. Crisp, who has come up big so often in postseason, trying to do so again. Here's the pitch to him. Down low, ball 2. Coco Crisp, Friday night, pinch hit, RBI single proved to be the game winner in a 1-0 Tribe victory in Game 3. That's his lone RBI in the World Series. 4 in postseason, but a couple of home runs for Coco Crisp. Now the 2-0. Off speed, up high, ball 3. Waiting on deck, Tyler Naquin. With first base open, Crisp with a 3-0 count. On his birthday, he turns 37 today. Here comes the 3-0. Outside, ball 4. Crisp draws the walk, and now the bases are loaded for Tyler Naquin. Naquin struck out looking his first time up. He was not in the lineup on Sunday night, but felt he had some better at-bats over at Wrigley Field over the weekend. Boy, he's never come up in a bigger spot than this. Tribe trailing 7-1, 2 outs, bases loaded, 4th inning, trying to gain ground here, make things interesting. The pitch from Arrieta. On the outside corner, strike 1 at 94 miles an hour at the knees. And for Naquin right there, why not let it go by? That was a tough pitch, a pitcher's pitch. Let it go and hope for something better. See some fastballs here from Arrieta. He sets at the belt. Here's his 0-1. Swing and a miss. Big cut by Naquin. And now it's 0-2 on the Tribe center fielder. Napoli, the base runner, at third. Chisenhall at second. Crisp at first. Naquin with an 0-2 count. The set and the pitch. Outside, ball 1. It was Tyler Naquin with perhaps the most dramatic moment of the regular season. Mid-August, Blue Jays in town on a Friday night, big crowd, and he hit an inside the park walk-off home run as the Indians defeated the Blue Jays that night. Now it's 1-2 on him here. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Naquin down on strikes, and the side is retired. The Indians do put across their first run, but they leave the bases loaded And as we head to the 5th inning here at Progressive Field, it's the Cubs 7 and the Tribe 1.
Wells pitch, and they're going to push themselves to try to get back in this game however it takes, because they don't want to be the team that rolls over when they get in a bad situation.
Danny Salazar pitching to Chris Bryant, and the pitch is up and in for ball 1. And, of course, the big key is, can the bullpen shut down the Cubs now after they've scored 7? And Salazar threw a 1-2-3 4th inning, facing Bryant, who homered his first time up, and he swings and fouls one back to even the count 1-1. And what do you have on Danny? Andre?
Well, this is big for Danny, to be honest with you. Danny has told me that it was frustrating watching the team get through the playoffs, and he was in Arizona, and he wanted to finish this season off on the mound as an Indian. And he really has to find himself, Rosie, and we can talk about it after this pitch.
The 1-1's on its way. Swung on, ripped to the left side, off the glove of Lindor, who picks it up, throws to first, not in time. Bryant is safe as he hit it into the shift, but just found a spot where Lindor could barely get to it, and he is safe at first with an infield single.
And Rosie, it's big for Danny Salazar because he's dealt with the pain basically most of the season and after the All-Star break. And he has to figure out why that pain has been there, but also what off-speed pitches work best for him. Now, we know he's not throwing the curveball right now, but he knows that to have it his repertoire and to make this thing work, he's going to need off-speed pitches. And the first inning, the changeup looked really good from Danny. So we'll see if he throws any other off-speed pitches now that he's out there.
All right, Andre, thank you.
You got it.
Anthony Rizzo, the batter, facing Salazar with the shift on. 3 on that right side of the infield. Rizzo, left-handed batter. Salazar delivers. Down low for a ball. It pops free on Perez. He can't find it, and Bryant will move up as he got a good break. Seeing that ball get away from Perez, even though it was right at Perez's feet. He could not locate it quickly, and Bryant moves up. Now the Cubs trying to keep the aggressive offensive approach on, and now it's a base runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the 5th. 7-1. The Cubs lead this one. That'll go as a wild pitch on Danny Salazar and a pitch in the dirt. Anthony Rizzo's 2 for 2, a pair of singles so far, and when he has reached, he has later come around to score. Now 7 for 19 in the World Series. Outstanding young first baseman. Gold Glove candidate this year. The pitch to him on the inside corner for a strike. Rizzo set his career high in batting average at .292. 43 doubles, drove in 109, hit 32 home runs. Outfield playing him just slightly to pull. Long look in here by Salazar. Now he's ready. And the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled back. So the count moves to 1-2 on Rizzo. Indians have some action going in their bullpen as right-hander Jeff Manship starts to loosen up. Salazar going through the heart of that Cubs lineup. Allowed the base hit to Bryant. Now it's Rizzo. Ben Zobrist is next. And then Addison Russell, who hit the grand slam his last time up. Salazar's ready. Here's his pitch. Swung on, popped up, third base side. Foul ground, long run. Ramirez reaches out, makes the catch right in front of the tarp. And good work by the policeman down there as he was near that area and picked up the stool he was sitting on and got out of there to allow Ramirez to get over and make the catch. A nice play by Jose Ramirez. And there's one down here in the 5th inning. Bryant has to remain at second base. And now Ben Zobrist will be the hitter. He, as well as Rizzo, 2 for 2 at the plate. He, too, with a pair of singles. And he has scored twice. Well, what a series for Zobrist. 9 for 21. Here's the pitch from Salazar. Fastball outside, ball 1. Yeah, the Indians trailing 7-1, being out hit 8-2 here in the top half of the 5th inning. If there is a game 7, it's tomorrow night. 8:08 first pitch. Corey Kluber against Kyle Hendricks. Now time is called. Salazar took too much as Zobrist did not want to wait around any longer. Boy, Zobrist with back-to-back strong World Series and good postseasons. Last year he was with the Royals, a midseason acquisition. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's a strike called on the outside corner. So it's 1-1 on Ben Zobrist, with Addison Russell waiting on deck. Zobrist, switch hitter, in from the left side. Former Tampa Bay Ray. Former Kansas City Royal, now with the Cubs, also with Oakland. Here's the pitch to him, and it's swung on, looped foul and out of play. And the count remains 1-2 on Zobrist. A beautiful night for baseball. The crowd was revved up at the start, but the Cubs scored 3 times in that first inning to really take that enthusiasm level down. Then the Indians had a great opportunity last inning. A run was in, the bases were loaded, but they could score no more. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him with a breaking ball, looked like. And Zobrist is down on strikes. Certainly off speed from Danny Salazar. And for Salazar, that's his 3rd strikeout as he's into his 2nd inning of work, and certainly looks like his last inning of work with Manship throwing in the pen. Now Addison Russell, what a night he's had. 2 for 2 with 6 runs driven in, albeit the first 2 on a ball that should have been caught in right center. It was a catchable ball, but it fell between Chisenhall and Naquin. And 2 runs scored on the play. Russell got credit for a double as he pops one up foul into the upper deck and then back down below on that first base side. So Addison Russell, who he's been streaky this postseason, was 1 for his first 24 as the postseason began. But now has put together a pretty good World Series with his game here tonight. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss, and the bat goes flying. All the way over past the Indians' on-deck circle on that third base side. Hit the netting over there, so he's able to retrieve his bat. But it's 0-2 on Addison Russell. Fine young shortstop like Anthony Rizzo. He, too, is a Gold Glove candidate in the National League at shortstop. And some power to boot, so here we are, another outstanding young shortstop in the major leagues. It seems like we talk about that a lot, certainly with the Indians. Francisco Lindor, one of the best young shortstops in the American League, and Addison Russell, one of the tops in the National League. Here's the 0-2. Swung on, foul back and out of play. And we'll do it again on 0-2. Chris Bryant's the base runner out at second base. He singled to open the inning, advanced on a wild pitch, and he's still there with 2 outs. Salazar trying to keep it at 7-1. Still a huge hill to climb for the Indians. They're trying to get some good relief here and at least keep the Cubs at 7 and see what they can do. Here comes the 0-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Good fastball at 97 miles an hour from Danny Salazar. Catches Addison Russell looking, and the side. Arrieta into the wide. Here's his pitch. And it's a strike called on the outside corner. Indians fell behind early, 3 in the first for the Cubs, then 4 more in the third on the grand slam from Addison Russell. And the try broke through in the fourth. Next pitch, a breaking ball, misses inside. So it's 1-1 on Roberto Perez. Arrieta cruising along at 70 pitches. Well, here's a guy who has tremendous durability, gives the Cubs some innings. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball, he flailed away at it. Jake Arrieta a paragon of fitness. Goes through a very strenuous routine between starts, prepping for the season. He's saying he's been eating a real healthy diet since he was about 12 years old. The 1-2. And that's right in there. Called strike 3, right down the middle. So Perez is caught looking. 8th strikeout for Arrieta. And there's one down here in the 5th. Top of the lineup, Carlos Santana will step in. Jake Arrieta, he'll get his strikeouts. He's had 4 different games of double-figure strikeouts this season, with a season best of 12 strikeouts against Arizona back in June. Here's Santana, who's 0 for 2, a strikeout, and he's also bounced to first, and he takes a pitch down low for ball 1. 7 runs on 8 hits for Chicago. The Tribe only 1 run on 2 hits. Now Arrieta into the wind. Here comes his pitch. Swung on and fouled back. 1-1 the count on Santana. Pretty good work in left field by Carlos Santana over the weekend. He started 2 games out there without the designated hitter, and you know what? He did all right. He handled each chance flawlessly. The 1-1. Swung on. He popped it up foul. That's off to the third base side and out of play. Well, the Cavaliers move their game up tonight to 6 o'clock, and LeBron James and his teammates are over here now. Their game complete. He and his teammates have made their way over. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Santana. Swung on and popped up high in the air on the infield, first base side. Anthony Rizzo calling for it, and he makes the catch in front of the bag on the infield grass for out number 2. So 2 down here in the 5th, and that'll bring up Jason Kipnis. Kipnis got things started last inning with a double, the Indians' first hit. It came leading off the 4th inning. And then he later scored on a 1-out single by Mike Napoli. Big play in that inning. Jose Ramirez with a line drive to right, and Jason Hayward made a tumbling catch to take a base hit away. Pitch to Kipnis is down low for ball 1. Indians would eventually load the bases with 2 outs, but Tyler Naquin struck out to end the inning with the bases loaded. Now Arrieta's into the line. Here comes his 1-0 to Kipnis. Low and outside, and the count moves to 2-0. Kipnis with that memorable Saturday night with a home run at Wrigley Field in front of tons of family and friends. Here's the 2-0, and that's outside for ball 3. Francisco Lindor waits on deck. Indians trying to get something going here with 2 outs. Arrieta into the windup. Here comes his 3-0 to Kipnis. And he takes a strike right in there. 3-1 the count on the Tribe's second baseman. Well, what a year it was for Kipnis. 23 home runs, 82 driven in, 41 doubles. Here comes the 3-1 delivery from Arrieta. Swung on, and there's a high fly ball, deep left field. This one's way back, and that ball is a home run. Jason Kipnis. The big night at the plate for Kipnis continues. It's his second home run in the series, and the Indians are back on the board. It's now Chicago 7 and the Tribe 2. Now, we heard Andre Knott talking during our last inning about the Indians trying to chip away. Don't let this thing get away without giving it a good effort. And they're trying to get back in this thing, and Kipnis leading the way. Here's Francisco Lindor. 4th home run of the postseason for Jason Kipnis. The pitch to Lindor. He swings and pops it foul out of play, third base side. A good carry for Kipnis to the opposite field. Gotten away of that a little bit this season. He's had a lot more pull home runs. Here's the 0-1. Swung on, line drive to first. One hop grab by Rizzo, the first baseman. Takes it to the bag to retire Lindor. And the Indians here in the 5th. They add another run on the home run by Kipnis. But it's still the Cubs 7 and the Tribe 2.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Ohio, as we play baseball in November. Bottom third of the order, reliever Jeff Manship on to pitch and misses down and away to the catcher Wilson Contreras. Cubs 7 runs on 8 hits, Indians 2 runs on 3 hits. Manship, the 4th pitcher to work for the Tribe. The righties pitch, swung on and missed, 1-1. Danny Salazar went 2 shutout innings, allowed a hit, struck out 4. Cubs got 3 in the first, 2 were a gift, and then the grand slam by Addison Russell to center in the 3rd. Contreras cuts and misses, 1-2. Chris Bryant, after 2 quick outs from Josh Tomlin to start the game, hit an 0-2 curveball into the bleachers and left to make it 1-0 in the first inning. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Got him to chase down and away. Manship strikes out Contreras, 1 down. Then Anthony Rizzo and Ben Zobrist singled, and with 2 down, Addison Russell hit a fly to shallow right center that should have ended the inning, but miscommunication between Naquin and Chisenhall. They let it drop between them. It went for a 2-run gift double. That made it 3-0, and then the Cubs knocked Josh Tomlin out of the game in the 3rd. He left with the bases loaded, and Addison Russell greeted Dan Otero with a grand slam to center. First pitch strike to Jason Hayward. He's flied out, popped up. So the Indians have been playing catch-up. They got a run in the 4th. Jason Kipnis doubled, and Mike Napoli singled him home. The next pitch, swing and a miss, 0-2. And then Jason Kipnis with his 2nd World Series homer. A solo shot to the bleachers and left in the 5th. And there is your scoring. 7-2 Cubs, 6th inning. Manship's pitch, swung on, bounced foul to the right. Still 0-2. Jeff Manship is making his 2nd World Series appearance. He's worked a 1/3 of a scoreless inning prior to tonight. And in this postseason overall, Manship has worked twice, not giving up any runs in an inning and 2/3. Now the 0-2. Swung on, fouled over the screen behind the plate. Still 0-2 on Jason Hayward. Boy, he does not cut down on his swing even with 2 strikes. They explain why he hit .230 during the regular season. Now the next offering. Swung on, foul to the upper deck behind the plate. Still an 0-2 count. Boy, this place was as thunderous as we have ever heard it when Josh Tomlin got the first 2 outs, but the Cubs, with 3 in the first and 4 in the 3rd, have quieted the crowd some. That pitch down and in, 1-2. And they were certainly ready from the first pitch on. The good news is the Indians and Cubs, still nobody's got 4 wins. That's what it's all about, to win it all. The pitch swung on, a towering fly to right. Medium deep. Chisenhall toward the line, corrals it. 2 down. And Terry Francona has said it all postseason long. First with Boston. Didn't matter how many games it took you, just be the first team to win 3 in the best of 5, and then to win the pennant against Toronto. Much like the World Series. Whoever wins 4 games first, that's what matters. Javier Baez, the batter. A ground out and a strikeout. 2 down in the Cubs' 6th. Chicago with a 7-2 lead. The right-hander Jeff Manship fires, and it's swung on and missed. Manship, who's out of San Antonio, now lives in Austin, Texas. Played collegiately in South Bend at Notre Dame. Was a roommate at one time with Jeff Samardzija. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Boy, he's got a good-looking slider tonight. He's primarily fastball slider. 2 strikes on Javier Baez. Manship into the motion. Here it comes. Swung on, ground ball back up the middle. Diving into center. Lindor has it from the seat of his pants. Flipping over and throwing, but no chance. Well, with an 0-2 count on Baez, you can bounce it up there and he'll swing at it. But Manship made that pitch way too good. And Baez with a base hit back up the middle. Great effort by Lindor. But it's a base hit nonetheless, and the Cubs have their 9th hit. And Terry Francona is going to go to Zach McAllister. We'll be right back.
Wells Fargo is making changes to make things right. First, all customers who have been impacted will be fully refunded.
Should there be a games 6 and 7, and certainly right now, you would think there would be a game 7 unless the Indians have some kind of monumental comeback. Top of the order, Dexter Fowler, 0 for 3. He'll bat left-handed, lined out to third, flied out to right, and struck out. Baez a threat to run the pitch. Swing and a fly ball towards shallow left center. And Naquin, and he cuts in front of Crisp and made the catch in left center, and they nearly had a collision. Well, there is nothing routine about a fly ball in the Indians. 6th, and the Cubs up 5. Mike Napoli, Jose Ramirez, Lonnie Chisenhall, the middle of the order. The wind and pitch to Napoli, and it's outside a ball. Napoli has struck out, singled home Jason Kipnis in the 4th after Kipnis had doubled. Now the wind and the 1-0. Swing and a foul upstairs, 1-1. Well, Kansas City VP extraordinaire, Mike Swanson's dug deep. Swanee, one of the best in the business. Reminds us the Chicago Cubs hold the record for biggest blown lead in World Series history. Here's the wind and the 1-1. Swing and a foul upstairs, 1-2. Swanee reports in game 4 of the World Series. And what year was that, Swanee? 1929. The Cubs had an 8-0 lead. Philadelphia A's scored 10 in the 7th and won 10-8. Now the wind and the 1-2 pitch. And Cubs thought it was strike 3, maybe low 2-2. So, folks, 7-2 sounds like nothing compared to that ball game in 1929.
Swanee trying to help out a fellow AL Central club, huh? With some optimism.
Jake Arrieta into the motion and the 2-2. Swing and a miss, struck out Napoli. 9 strikeouts for Arrieta. Now the Cubs have had to play back-to-back elimination games. They won Sunday night at Wrigley 3-2, and then tonight that 3-run first, and then the Addison Russell grand slam to center in the 3rd. And in this elimination game, the Cubs are sitting pretty, leading 7-2. Here's Jose Ramirez, struck out, then robbed of a hit on a liner to right that Jason Hayward made a terrific diving catch on. Arrieta's pitch, and it's a breaking ball up and away, ball 1. Ramirez switch hitter, batting left-handed. Indians have had only 3 hits off Arrieta tonight, and he never gives up many hits. The next pitch high, 2-0. He was the toughest to get hits off in the National League this year. Teams batted 194 against Arrieta. And he only gave up 2 hits to the Indians in game 2. Now the 2-0 pitch. And it's in there, a strike to make it 2-1. Tonight's World Series game presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Arrieta, that deliberate wind and pitch. Swing and a foul back, 2-2. Arrieta made the National League All-Star team this year, first time All-Star. How about last year? He wins the Cy Young. He's 22-6 a year ago and didn't make the All-Star team. Same thing happened to Corey Kluber in his Cy Young season 2 years ago. Now the 2-2 pitch. Checked on a pitch low, full count. Arrieta's at 93 pitches. And the Cubs get their left-hander Mike Montgomery up. Just in case. Cubs with a 5-run lead. Indians trying to get back into it. Bottom of the 6th. Now the payoff pitch. Swing and a foul back. Boy, pitch in on his thumbs. Tough pitch to fight off. And the count stays full. First time that postseason play has taken the Cubs and the Indians into November. Now the payoff pitch. Swung on, line to left, back goes Zobrist. He's there and reaches up to snag it. Boy, when the Indians have hit some balls hard, it's been at people. It's 2 line drive outs for Jose Ramirez. It's just tough with Arrieta to string together a bunch of hits. The way you beat Arrieta is you hope he's having command issues and walks a few people and then somebody takes you deep. But if you think you're going to get 4 or 5 hits in an inning off Arrieta, good luck. Here's Lonnie Chisenhall, has struck out, been hit by a pitch. 2 down, Tribe down 5 in the 6th, the wind-in pitch, and it's a fastball up and away, ball 1. The next delivery, swung on, foul to the upper deck, and it's a 1-1 count on Chisenhall. Arrieta kicks, fires. Chisenhall takes high, ball 2, 2-1. The Indians really had their best opportunity to make a huge dent into this deficit in the 4th when they scored a run. Had bases loaded with 2 down. But then Arrieta got out of it, striking out Naquin. Now the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, fouled off, right side, 2-2. Chisenhall had a flu bug Sunday. Was not in the starting lineup, but was with the club. Much better here today. Good news is that thing hasn't swept through the clubhouse. Now the 2-2. Checked on a pitch that bounced in there. Full count. Arrieta has now made 100 pitches. But he's giving Joe Maddon what Joe Maddon said he had to have, and that's at least 6 innings. Now the payoff. Swung on, fouled again. First base side. Right by that Cubs dugout. And the count stays 3-2. Arrieta's ready. Here it comes, the payoff. Down low. Good at bat for Lonnie Chisenhall. So he draws the walk. And the Indians have a 2-out base runner. And that'll bring up Coco Crisp. Arrieta has walked 4, but the Indians have not made him pay for any of those walks. 3 walks by Arrieta, and here's Joe Maddon. Well, guess he's seen enough. So Joe Maddon is not going to get 6 innings. He got close to it. He had a 7-pitch at bat and drew that walk to knock Arrieta out of the ballgame. The left-hander Mike Montgomery to the right-handed hitting pinch hitter Brandon Guyer. Montgomery fastball, cutter, curve, and change. The lefty's pitch swung on, bounced up the middle. Russell falling down, but on his knees, has it, flips to second from his knees, near shallow center, and gets Chisenhall on the force. One pitch is all it took, and that'll take care of the Indians. 7-2. Cubs lead the Tribe, 6 in the books.
Wells Fargo is making changes to make things right. First, all customers who have been impacted will be fully refunded. Second, a confirmation will be sent when new
Kyle Schwarber, the DH, 0 for 2 with a walk, left-handed hitter. Indians over shift, and a curveball missed low and away. 6 inning totals. The Cubs 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors, and 3 left. The Indians 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 5 stranded. McAllister's ready, and the 1-0 to Schwarber. And he lines a base hit to left center. So Schwarber has his 4th World Series hit. And that'll bring up Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant, solo homer to left. That came in the 1st inning. Josh Tomlin got 2 quick outs and got ahead on Bryant 0-2, and he hung a curve, and Bryant hit it out of here to the bleachers and left. He's 2 for 3 tonight. 2nd World Series homer, and they've come in back-to-back games. So Bryant this year has hit 42 home runs if you include the postseason. And he is still a babe as far as youth-wise, Major League Baseball experience-wise. He swings, fouls one back. This guy is tracking to become one of those guys like Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, one of the faces of the game, along with the Indians shortstop Frankie Lindor. Right-hander against right-hander. McAllister's ready, and the 0-1 pitch. A little outside, ball 1, 1-1. Tonight's World Series game presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. So Bryant had 1 base hit in this World Series. And then Sunday night he came out of it, and it's continued here tonight. The pitch to him, way outside, ball 2, 2-1. Right-hander Mike Clevenger warming in the Indians bullpen.
Clevenger up for Cleveland.
Indians in the outfield are straight away in left and right, but the center fielder Naquin is way toward right center. The pitch, and fastball right down the middle, and it's called ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. McAllister sets, fires. Bryant fouling it back, full count. That was 97 miles an hour from Zach McAllister. I think he might be a little amped up here in his World Series performance, part 2. Zach McAllister out of Chillicothe, Illinois. That's right outside Peoria. The pitch, swung on, smashed, foul down the first baseline. Boy, that was pretty close to going over the bag at first. And the count stays full. Good move by Sam Holbrook, first base umpire. That ball was headed toward him, and he never flinched. Moved at the last second jumping out of the way, but he got a bird's eye view of that call. Now the payoff pitch. Swung on, popped up foul, off to the right. Perez watches it float out of play, and will do it again at 3-2. Chris Bryant, a Las Vegas kid who went to the University of San Diego. The Indians played a couple of exhibition games against the San Diego Padres a few years back. at his college ballpark. One of the Padre owners is a big supporter of the University of San Diego, and that's why the Indians and Padres played 2 exhibition games in spring at a college park. Payoff pitch, swung on, line toward left center, coming on Geyer, it drops, base hit. So back-to-back singles off McAllister here in the 7th inning, and Bryant has his 3rd hit tonight. Boy, and he is heating up at the right time for the Cubs. As Bryant, with that homer Sunday night, a homer tonight, and a 3-hit game, and now Anthony Rizzo. 2 for 3, 2 singles, 2 runs scored. Cubs have out-hit the Indians 11-3 and lead 7-2 here in the 7th. Cubs had a total output of 10 runs scored in the first 5 games, and the Cubs were hitting .210 as a team. The pitch, Rizzo takes down and in, ball 1. McAllister checks second, comes to the plate. Rizzo takes down and in, 2-0. Zach McAllister's mom and dad have been to almost all of the home postseason games. His dad, Steve, longtime Major League Baseball scout. Now the 2-0 pitch, swung on, popped him up foul, but this is going to get out of play behind the plate. 2-1 the count on Rizzo. Now I want to send along special wishes to Ben Lewis, who's been a lifelong Indians fan and going through quite a battle of his own, but boy, he's been keeping a close eye and ear on all of these Indians postseason games, along with his son, John Lewis. Now the 2-1 pitch, swung on, a towering fly, shallow right. Chisenhall calling and making the catch. So Schwarber stays at second, Bryant at first, and the dangerous Anthony Rizzo out number 1. So all the very best to Ben Lewis and his family, and a special time for Ben and his son John and this Indians' incredible October and now November postseason run. Here's Ben Zobrist, 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Switch hitter batting left-handed. What a World Series. He is hitting .409. He helped the Royals win it all last year. The pitch to him, and he drives one to left. Back goes Geyer. He'll catch the liner right in front of the warning track. Zobrist, even when he makes an out, it's a hard out. 2 down. Here's Addison Russell. He has a 6 RBI game tonight. Addison Russell got 2 gift RBIs on the ball that wasn't caught in the first that went for a 2-run double. But he earned the 4 that he got in the third, the grand slam off Dan Otero to center field, and that was the backbreaker. 7-2, the Cubs lead it with 6 RBIs from Addison Russell. 2 out, 2 on the pitch, and it's a breaking ball down low for ball 1. McAllister lets it fly. Russell swings and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jack McAllister's ready. Here it comes. Outside a ball, 2-1. Addison Russell's grand slam was the first since the White Sox' Paul Konerko hit one in that White Sox sweep of the Astros in the World Series in 2005. McAllister's ready. Here it comes. Swung on a one-hop smash to third. Ramirez has it, runs to the bag for the out. Indians' seventh inning stretch trailing the Cubs by a score of 7-2.
College football fans know the Goodyear Blimp is a long-time season ticket holder.
That's right. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear Blimp is...
Will bat for Tyler Naquin here in the bottom of the seventh. Left-hander Mike Montgomery's pitch is high, a ball. And I would imagine, if indeed we do have a Game 7 tomorrow night, Rajai Davis is going to be in center field. The 1-0 pitch, and it's down at the knees. He can't believe the call by West. He backs away and has words. And the count of ball into strike. Well, you hardly ever see Rajai Davis say anything to a home plate umpire on a call. Mike Montgomery got the final out in the sixth. Now the wind and the 1-1. Davis sends a liner to center, but right at Fowler. Boy, another line drive out. One down for catcher Roberto Perez, who's 0 for 2, a fly out and a strikeout. Now the Indians only had 3 hits off Jake Arrieta, as Jake Arrieta's in line to win his second World Series game against the Indians. And he was terrific again, as in his first outing in Game 2. He goes 5 2/3. Tonight he gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, struck out 9, walked 3, hit a batter. The first World Series game, the pitch, and it's in there. He beat the Indians in Game 2. He went 5 2/3, gave up a run on 2 hits. So the Indians have only had 5 hits off Jake Arrieta in his 2 starts. Now the wind and 0-1. Backdoored him and missed. And if there is Game 7, now the Indians' former Cy Young Award winner, who's been almost unbeatable since the All-Star break, Corey Kluber tomorrow night. And Kyle Hendricks, who's had a career year going for the Cubs, the 1-1. Curveball low, 2-1. Kyle Hendricks, we saw him earlier in this series. He's not the same guy, but like a Josh Tomlin, upper 80s. He's got a tremendous changeup, breaking ball. Now the wind and 2-1. Down low, 3-1. Mike Clevenger still throwing in the Indians bullpen. And the Cubs have a right-hander. That's Justin Grimm getting ready. 7-2, Cubs in command. 7th inning, 1 out. The pitch swung on, foul back, and it's a full count. The Indians' runs coming in the 4th and 5th. Jason Kipnis doubled in the 4th and scored on a Mike Napoli single. Jason Kipnis solo homer to left in the 5th. That's it. Now the wind and the 3-2. Down low, he walked him. So Montgomery issues the 4th walk by a Cubs pitcher tonight, along with a hit batter. The Indians have had 5 base runners that the Cubs have, in essence, given the Indians with walks and a hit batter. And yet the Indians have not made the Cubs pay one time for any of those free rides. Top of the order, Carlos Santana. He'll bat right-handed. The switch hitter 0 for 3. Well, now Aroldis Chapman has joined Justin Grimm in the Cubs bullpen. Boy, you would really like to force the Cubs to go to Chapman as early as this 7th inning tonight. He had an 8-out save on Sunday. It's a lot of work. Now the set, now the pitch. Curveball strike to Santana. Tells you again, yes, obviously, there is no tomorrow for the Cubs if they lose here. We all know that. But also tells you there's not a whole lot of faith in that Cubs bullpen for Joe Maddon outside of Chapman. Now the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Ran it in on him 0-2. Santana has struck out, grounded out, popped up. Outfield fairly deep, spread out. 7-2 the Indians, trailing here in the 7th with a runner on and one out. Montgomery's 2-strike pitch. Down and away, changeup that he wouldn't chase. And the count goes to 1-2 strikes. Indians looking for somebody to give them a jump start here. Montgomery's pitch, swung on, fly ball to center. Fowler has a routine play. Santana's 0 for 4. Now Jason Kipnis bats with 2 down in the 7th inning. He's had a heck of a night. He doubled and scored in the 4th when he doubled to left center. And then he hit a solo homer to left in the 5th. When Kipnis is doing that, you know he feels great. He is at his best when he's driving the ball the other way to left and left center, and he's done that tonight. And he was saying, look, the ankle doesn't feel good. He had that badly sprained left ankle in the celebration as they were jumping up and down out on the field in Toronto when they won the pennant, and he landed on Frankie Lindor's foot and rolled that ankle. Pitch to Kipnis, down and away, a breaking ball, but he has played through it. And now you're seeing the old Kipnis. He had that big 3-run bomb in Chicago, and tonight a double and a homer. The next pitch to him, and it's low, ball 2, and the catcher Wilson Contreras heading to the mound. Well, this is a guy Montgomery has to get. He's in there to get a guy like a left-handed Jason Kipnis. Contreras running back behind the plate. Mike Montgomery came from Seattle this summer. Good trade. Cubs had to give up some more good young talent to get him, but he really helped fortify their bullpen. Former high school teammate of Trevor Bauer's growing up in L.A. Now the 2-0 pitch. Swung on, grounded sharply into right field, a base hit by the diving Baez. And Kipnis comes through with his 3rd hit. So he's doubled, homered, and singled. Perez to second, and Frankie Lindor to the plate. And here comes Joe Maddon. And I do believe, folks, we're going to see Aroldis Chapman. Yes, we are. Well, obviously, you'd love to see the Indians win it tonight. And would there be anything better than a dramatic comeback? The Indians have runners at first and second base with 2 down in the 7th, and Frankie Lindor, the switch hitter, will bat right-handed. In a season-saving performance Sunday night, and you could see why he was brought on Sunday night in the 7th inning, because the Cubs only led 3-2. Chapman went 2 2/3 scoreless innings, allowed a hit, struck out 4, hit a batter. It was his longest outing ever as a reliever. Now he comes in with a club up 5, Rosie.
And you're right, it's remarkable, but you have to get to tomorrow night, and Joe Maddon knows that as well as anybody, and we've heard Terry Francona talk about it all year. Play the game tonight, worry about tomorrow.
Here's Lindor, the set and the pitch. Swing and a miss, 100-mile-an-hour heater.
But if there is a tomorrow, could be impacted by a lengthy outing tonight. Now the key is, can the Indians make him work?
Now Chapman, 100-mile-an-hour plus fastball, slider, and once in a while a changeup. Why he'd throw one, I don't know. Lindor tonight 0 for 2 with a walk. He's batting right-handed. Chapman's pitch. Swung on, a weak bouncing ball to first. Rizzo gloves. Long toss to Chapman. Safe is Lindor. Oh my, what hustle. In a foot race with Chapman to the bag. Chapman looks like he's limping a little bit. Plus, that's just his gait. A long flip by Rizzo to Chapman covering. Will the Cubs challenge the call? They so far haven't challenged it. We'll see. Boy, it was close. Yep, they've challenged it. I think the Indians are, the replay we see, the Indians are going to get this call overturned. It was bang, bang. And the replay challenge called on by Joe Madden. Chapman was limping a little bit. Whether he got stepped on by Lindor or tweaked something. Now Joe Madden's going out to the mound saying, this is not an official visit. I just want to check on my guy to see if he is okay. I think this call is going to get overturned. I think the inning will be over. Headsets are off. The call out at first. So the call gets overturned. The inning will end. Boy, would that have been huge. But now the question for the Cubs, is Chapman okay? As he was being looked at. And he is limping as he comes to that first base dugout. He made that move to the bullpen for postseason. He'll be a starter come next year. The pitch. And it's down and away to the number 7 hitter, catcher Wilson Contreras. Clevenger, mid-90s fastball, curve, slider, change. The next pitch. And it's low again. Ball 2, 2-0. Clevenger, he kicks and he fires. And strike call. 2 balls and a strike. Sellout crowd tonight, 38,116. Don't know if we've ever heard this park louder than when this game started and 2 batters in. The pitch swung on, bounced toward third, foul. 2-2. But then the Cubs with 3 in the first, and Addison Russell, the grand slam to center in the third, and crowd has tried to stay in this game. They've only had a couple of times where the Indians have really threatened. Now the 2-2. Swung on, fisted foul to the right. We'll do it again at 2-2. Critical now for Clevenger to keep it what it is, 7-2. Obviously, if you have any hopes of coming back, you just can't fall any further back. But also important, the 2-2, down and away, full count, to keep this game where it's at. So Joe Madden has to stay with his closer, Aroldis Chapman, and force him to work 3 innings again tonight, like he did on Sunday night, with Game 7 looming tomorrow night. Now the payoff. Inside, ball 4. So Clevenger walks Contreras to start the Cubs' 8th inning. Now Jason Hayward. 2 flyouts and a pop-up. 7 runs, 11 hits for the Cubs. 2 runs, only 4 hits for the Indians. Hayward played slightly toward right field for the left-handed hitter. The pitch, and before it's made, quick throw to first. Contreras diving back. Jason Hayward with that whopper 8-year contract for about $184 million in the offseason. And then proceeded to have arguably his worst year in the big leagues. The pitch. That's inside a ball. But a lot of times you'll see that. A guy signs that mammoth contract. That first year's tough. Trying to live up to it. Got to believe Hayward will be a much better player next year. Clevenger's ready. And fires. Way high and outside, 2-0. And Well, you just can't have the walks now. Clevenger takes a lot of time. He comes set. And deals. Swung on, chopper to third, could be two. Ramirez to second one. Kipnis turns the double play. Hayward got into a 2-0 count and banged one toward third the opposite way. And that became an easy 5-4-3 double play. And is that a huge double play to maybe quell a potential uprising for the Cubs? Here's the number 9 hitter, Javier Baez. Brian Shaw had picked up his glove and was about to start warming in the Indians' pen. Baez, 1 for 3, a single. 2 outs, nobody on. Cubs lead 7-2, 8th inning. The pitch. And it's in there. Fastball strike. Mike Clevenger. Kicks, fires, swing and a miss by Baez. Chase the slider. 0-2, and again, you get Baez to 2 strikes and you can bounce it up there. Or you can throw one up about the bill of his cap. He'll chase anything. Now the 0-2. And he took a fastball right down the middle. That's unbelievable. He swings at anything, but not a fastball right down the middle. Go figure, huh? Cubs trying to tie the World Series at 3 wins apiece. Cleanup hitter Mike Napoli. The pitch. And it's up high, a ball, and he started him off with a slider, it looked like. Napoli 1 for 3, an RBI single. Chapman's ready. Now the 1-0. That's in there, a called strike, 99 miles an hour. Napoli, Ramirez, Chizano. Even if the Indians can't come from behind and win tonight, right now they really want to make Chapman work, make a lot of pitches, if at all possible. The pitch. Fastball strike, 1-2, 100 miles an hour, so the foot must be fine. By the way, Addison Russell with that grand slam and 2-run gift double tonight. The 6 RBIs by Addison Russell equals the World Series record for most RBIs in one game. The pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Pitch was high. He went around. No appeal. Joe West, the home plate umpire, made the call. He said, I don't need help. So here's Jose Ramirez. He'll bat right-handed, 0 for 3. Addison Russell became the 4th player in World Series history tonight to knock in 6 runs in a game. Bobby Richardson did it for the Yankees in 1960. Here's Jose Ramirez. The pitch to him. Swing and a miss. Hideki Matsui for the Yankees in 2009. And Albert Pujols for St. Louis 2011. And then tonight, Addison Russell. Those 4. Major League record, 6 RBIs in a World Series game. Fastball is up, 1-1. The Indians have mustered just 4 hits tonight off Arrieta, Montgomery, and now Chapman. Cubs with a 7-2 lead. Try batting, bottom of the 8th, 1 out, nobody on. The next pitch. And it's high. Ball 2, 2-1. And if there is no rally for the Indians tonight, then it's really old school baseball tomorrow night. Corey Kluber would start his 3rd World Series game. The pitch. Swung on, line drive, base hit, center field. So Jose Ramirez has the Indians' 5th hit. Sharp single to center. That'll bring up, I would think, a pinch hitter, and is. Yan Gomes is going to bat for Lonnie Chisenhall. Now, this is like the old days when pitchers always went on 3 days rest. Then you'd have games or World Series with one guy making 3 starts and winning all 3. Mickey Lolich did it against the Cardinals. So here's the pinch hitter, Yan Gomes. Right-handed hitter. Runner on, 1 out, tried down 5. The pitch swung on, fouled back, strike 1. But Corey Kluber would get the start tomorrow night for the Indians if there is a Game 7. And Corey Kluber, so far in this World Series, has beaten the Cubs twice and given up 1 run in 12 innings, striking out 15 and walking 1. The pitch. Down low off speed, 1-1. Kyle Hendricks would make his second start, and the Indians faced him at Wrigley Field. And in that ball game that Hendricks worked, which was Game 3, the 1-0 Indians win, Hendricks didn't give up a run, went 4 1/3, allowed 6 hits, struck out 6, walked 2. The pitch. Gomes takes high, ball 2, 2-1. That's if there's a Game 7. You never know in this crazy game. And quite frankly, folks, the way this Indians season has gone, why would you expect anything but the unexpected, including tonight? Drive down 5. Yan Gomes trying to ignite this capacity crowd. 1 out, 1 on. 8th inning. 7-2 Cubs. The pitch. Swung on, fouled back, 2-2. 100-mile-an-hour heater again. Aroldis Chapman, he's only made 14 pitches tonight. Chapman made 42 pitches Sunday night. Down the 2-2. Swung on, ground ball to short. Russell to second, low throw, dugout. Baez turns the double play, getting Gomes. So that's huge for Chapman and the Cubs because, boy, you talk about minimizing the workload. He gets that double play ball right there to end it. So the 9th inning is forthcoming, and the Cubs lead the Indians 7-2.
To prevent trouble with critical computer systems, the Indians turn to Secure Data 365's world-class data center facilities. What does your company do to protect its IT systems when faced with power?
He had a scoreless 8th. He'll face the top of the order. Dexter Fowler, Kyle Schwarber, and Chris Bryant. Fowler, 0 for 4. He's batting left-handed. First pitch from Clevenger, and he gets it in there, a strike. Tonight's World Series game presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The pitch, and it's high, and the count 1-1. The next pitch popped foul out of play to the left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mike Clevenger kicks, fires. Fowler bounces one weakly. Charging at second is Kipnis, and he'll throw out Fowler. 1 down for Kyle Schwarber. He's 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. Shift on, 3 go to the right side of the infield. Now, the one thing the Indians had been so good at this postseason, and tonight it came back and got them, was the big inning. The Indians just haven't been giving up the big inning. That pitch high. Coming into tonight's game, in the Indians' first 13 postseason games. Hard to believe. Indians had already played 13 postseason games prior to tonight. Schwarber sends one in the air, deep center. Back toward the track. onto the track. Rajay Davis pulls it down, 2 down. But in those first 13 games of October, none of them were played in November until tonight, the Indians had only given up more than 1 run in an inning 3 different times. And that covered 115 innings. The other 112 innings, Indians pitching either threw up a shutout or gave up 1 run. But tonight, Cubs 3 in the first, 4 in the third. Chris Bryant taking, it's down low, a ball. 7-2 the score. Cubs on top of the Indians, 9th inning. And the Cubs 3 outs away from forcing Game 7. That pitch outside, ball 2, 2-0. It would have been great to win it here tonight, but I think when this World Series began, a lot of people thought it would come down to a 7th game. Now the 2-0. Swung on, bullet, headed to left center, another base hit. Bryant is coming out of it in a big way and at a most critical time for the Cubs. He has a 4-hit game. And now Anthony Rizzo, 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. Bryant and Rizzo, they're the guys that make the most noise in this Cubs lineup. And prior to tonight's ball game, Bryant in this World Series had 2 base hits. And tonight, a home run and 3 singles. Here's Anthony Rizzo. Indians over shift 3 to the right side. Left-handed slugging first baseman. The pitch to him. And it's at the knees, a strike. Hard to think there's a better fielding first baseman in the National League than this guy. 7-2, Cubs lead it in the 9th. They've out-hit the Indians 12-5. The 0-1 pitch. And swung on, blasted to right. It's way out of here. So Anthony Rizzo has made it a 9-2 ball game. And Rizzo and Bryant have 7 hits between them. And that's Rizzo's first World Series home run. Now, again, I think really the key point in all of this, Rosie, is doesn't matter how bad you get beat tonight. You get beat, you get beat. Tomorrow night, it's a new night, and it's Corey Kluber.
Absolutely, and there's no one that the Indians would rather have. I know it's 3 days rest. There'll be a lot of talk about that, but boy, he's been solid so far.
Well, it's not like it's his first time. It'll be his 3rd time now in 3 days rest this postseason. The pitch, and Ben Zobrist takes low a ball. So that's why, yeah, it's 9-2 now. But the Cubs went to Chapman in the 7th inning, so he's going to be making his 2nd consecutive, that pitch low, 2-0, his 2nd consecutive appearance in which he worked not a total of 3 innings in each, but worked in 3 different innings. Will that have any impact on Chapman looking ahead? That pitch outside, 3-0. And it'll be Corey Kluber and Kyle Hendricks tomorrow night. And it's really some of the most magical words you can say in baseball. That pitch, a strike, 3-1, and that is Game 7 of the World Series. There's really nothing like it in sports. Now Clevenger started, and then Zobrist stepped out. 9-2. The Cubs will even this series. Cubs now are on the bullpen phone. I wonder if they'll get somebody in there. That pitch outside, another walk. That's the 2nd walk Clevenger has given up. And the Cubs are going to get the bullpen busy. This might be a case where finally Joe Maddon says, you know, we're up 7. Maybe I don't have to pitch Chapman the 9th inning. Tell you what, though, when your season's on the brink, as it has been for the Cubs Sunday night and tonight, there is Addison Russell. The pitch to him. It's down low ball. You never feel like you've got a big enough lead. But the Cubs are getting double barrel activity, so Chapman's night might be over. 9-2 Cubs. That's why it was important to keep the game at 5 runs. But Clevenger got 2 outs here, then a single and a bomb. Now the 1-0 pitch. Checked on a slider away, ball 2-0. This game brought to you by the Home Depot. More savings, more doing. Clevenger sets, fires, swung on, grounded to short. Lindor underhand flip to second for the inning-ending force. So Russo with a 2-run homer. That just makes it a little bit bigger, but it also might allow Joe Madden to pull his closer. We've got a timeout as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Cubs 9, Indians 2.
Wells Fargo is making changes to make things.
Davis Perez. Jake Arrieta will get his second World Series win against the Tribe. He went 5 2/3, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, struck out 9. Mike Montgomery a scoreless inning, and now Aroldis Chapman. He's gone an inning and a third, but he's only made 15 pitches. Brandon Guyer 0 for 1. He takes outside a ball. Cubs have had Travis Wood, a lefty, and Pedro Strop, a right-hander, throwing in their bullpen. They're ready if needed. Guyer came on to pinch hit and made the final out in the 6th inning against Montgomery. The set and the pitch, way outside, 2-0. The only Indians runs, Jason Kipnis doubled in the 4th, scored on a Mike Napoli single, and then Jason Kipnis pounded a home run to the bleachers and left in the 5th. Otherwise, it's been all Cubs. Now the pitch, swung on, popped it up, foul and back of home plate, out of play. 2-1 the count on Guyer. Now the set, now the 2-1. Down and in, 3-1. Now Chapman, if you're just joining us, rolled his ankle, covering the bag and taking a throw in the 7th inning to end the inning. He's been hobbled by it. He fires, and it's up high, and he just walked Guyer on 5 pitches to start the inning. And wonder if Joe Madden will go to his pen. They may be really worried about that ankle. Well, here comes Joe Madden, and that would be an indication that, and it is, Pedro Strop is coming on. He's already made the call to the bullpen. So it'll be something to keep in mind in regards to tomorrow night, the ankle of Aroldis Chapman. And how badly did he roll it? You know, when you're still pitching in the game and whatnot, you've got the adrenaline going and you're still warmed up and whatnot. Could be a little bit different tomorrow. We shall see. Bottom line is, though, there's going to be a tomorrow for the Cubs. Unless they're here in 2016. Fastball slider split. Rajai Davis, he pinched it, stayed in the ballgame. Lined out to center his only at bat. Righty-righty matchup. Strop with a first pitch strike at 95. Strop, believe it or not, came with Jake Arrieta from Baltimore to the Cubs. What a great trade for the Cubs. What a brutal trade for the Birds. The pitch, swung on, fouled off right side, jammed him with the heat. And the count 0-2. Now time is called. Nine runs, 13 hits for the Cubs. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Indians. Bottom of the 9th inning. As the Cubs 3 outs away from making this a 3-3 tie in the series. The pitch swung on, hit high, and fairly deep to left. Zobrist back, track near the wall, makes the catch right in front of the wall. Been that kind of a night for the Indians offensively. When they've hit a ball well, usually it's been at somebody. And that time Rajai Davis just missed either getting it off the wall or over the 19-foot wall and left. One down for the catcher, Roberto Perez. He's flied out, struck out, and walked. Right-hander against right-hander. 9-2. Cubs lead the Indians here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Strop comes set. The pitch bounces away to the backstop. The wild pitch advances. Geyer to second. Well, as disappointing as it is for the Indians and their fans not to wrap up the World Series here tonight, if we'd told you back on February 14th, would you settle for a game on November 2nd in downtown Cleveland, Game 7 of the World Series? I think you would have signed up for that. And that's what it looks like we will have tomorrow night. The pitch. And it's in there, strike 1-1. For some reason, we've not been told why, Major League Baseball has moved up the start time to 8 o'clock, moving it up 8 minutes. Again, not certain why, but that's what we've been told. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, 1-2. And the beauty of this game, and it's been said by so many great managers down through the years, the Cubs have the momentum now, but momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher, and the Indians have their ace, Corey Kluber. The Cubs have a good one in the youngster Kyle Hendricks. And trust me, in Game 7, every player feels the pressure. Now the 1-2 pitch. Swung on a bullet to right field. That's a base hit. Gets down and scoots to the wall. That'll score. Geyer from second. Perez to second. Throw, slide, tag. He gets thrown out at second base with the club down 9-3. Jason Hayward with that cannon arm from the right field corner. I didn't even think there'd be a play at second base. And Roberto Perez is thrown out on a ball he shot down the right field line into that corner. And Hayward, with the best throwing arm in baseball, got the throw to second on the fly, and Roberto Perez is thrown out. Wow. So it's 9-3, but now the bases are empty and 2 down. Give Perez an RBI single. Top of the order, Carlos Santana batting left-handed, takes low, ball 1. Now the Indians, and the score would obviously indicate that, they've not played a good game tonight, and it started with their defense in the first inning. That pitch down and in, ball 2, 2-0, and as Terry Francona has said time and again, the Indians can beat anybody when they play clean baseball. But they're vulnerable to anybody if they don't, much less the Cubs. That pitch down low, 3-0. And Indians gave the Cubs those 2 runs in the first inning. And that really was a tone setter for Chicago. You talk about getting them off to a loose and relaxed start in an elimination game. Now the 3-0. That is ball 4 down low. And how big now does it look with Roberto Perez getting thrown out at second? So Santana gets the 2-out walk. It's a 9-3 ball game. That run, by the way, charged to Aroldis Chapman. So he's given up a run tonight, going an inning and a third. And Joe Maddon's going to make another pitching change. He wants to go to the left-hander Travis Wood to face Jason Kipnis. So it's a 9-3 ball game. Cubs lead the Indians. Indians have a base runner with 2 down in the 9th, and we'll be back.
AutoZone presents Peak Performance, maximizing fuel economy, engine life, and
Needs the 3-bagger. He's certainly capable. Left on left. Santana at first, 2 down in the 9th. Indians down to their last out as they trail the Chicago Cubs 9-3 here in the 9th inning, as the Cubs are 1 out away from forcing Game 7 tomorrow night. Corey Kluber against Kyle Hendricks. Wood is ready. The pitch, and it's in there, strike. Santana goes to second on indifference. Travis Wood taking a lot of time here. Now he's ready with the 0-1 pitch to Kipnis. Swung on, hit in the air, shallow left. Bryan and Russell going out. Russell, the shortstop, in foul territory, makes the catch. And there will be a Game 7 tomorrow night here in downtown Cleveland. And either the Chicago Cubs or the Cleveland Indians will end a long drought for winning a championship. The Cubs have evened the slate, pounding the Indians here tonight by a final score of 9-3, and we'll be right back.
At Navy Federal Credit Union, we offer a full range of credit cards that reward you for spending smartly, like our Cash Rewards card, which gives you 1.5% cash back on qualifying purchases, our Flagship Rewards card that lets you redeem travel points on any airline anytime, and the Versatile Go Rewards card that gives you the option to use points toward merchandise, travel, or cash back. Visit NavyFederal.org for details and start getting rewarded for spending smartly today. Open to everyone in the Armed Forces, the DoD, and their families. Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
When I heard the founders of Firehouse Subs were working on under 500-calorie subs, I had to laugh. A lot. Deeply. But when I tasted the Hook and Ladder Light with all that famous Firehouse flavor for just $5.49, with steamed turkey, ham, and Monterey Jack on a light roll with veggies, mustard, and light mayo, I quit laughing. I wasn't too full or filled. I was fulfilled. The Firehouse Subs Hook and Ladder Light. Believe in the hero of all subs.
College football fans know the Goodyear Blimp is a long-time season ticket holder.
That's right. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear Blimp has flown over some of the game's most spectacular athletes. Even you, Golick.
But to Goodyear, it's the moment